Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Katie's Fabulous Makeup Hour. Today we're going to be doing a pretty simple look using Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes and my favorite palette currently, the Lime Crime Venus 2 palette that has that rich mustard. So like I said, we're going to be doing a pretty basic look today. So we're not going to be doing foundation, concealer, full face coverage. Just going to do some eyeshadow and a little bit of powder. Something that'll get me through the day, but is also fun. I've chosen to do a color palette to go with my top here today. We've got some warm florals. So to start out, I'm just going to grab some of my brushes here. We've got a bunch of different ones today. I'm going to start with Fluffy Brush, which you have seen before if you've seen any of my videos, the one. I'm going to start out with this nice pale neutral here, and I'm just going to give a really light base, so I have something to start with. So I'm just going to put that on there, and I don't really need it to be terribly even. I don't need it to be perfect. This is just so the other colors I'm using will have something to stick to, giving it a little base. Now, I'm always going to do my eyes first, because as I work on them, I'm going to get fallout, the little fluffy colors that are going to drop everywhere, and I don't want to have those falling on a finished face. So I'm going to do the eyes first and then the skin. So you can see I just did a little bit of that neutral there. Now I'm going to start building up my yellow. Yellows are my favorite color to do in eyeshadows, but sometimes it's a little difficult because they're not usually as pigmented as others, because yellow is kind of a delicate color. So I'm going to get a bunch of it on my brush there. Probably can't see that. Gonna get a bunch of it on my brush there, and I'm going to do this in my crease, and that's really all the color I'm gonna do today. Is I'm gonna do the mustard in the crease, and then I'm gonna do some pinky oranges along the bottom. I'm not gonna do a whole lot of blending because it's a quick look. So we're gonna take that yellow and we're gonna sweep it into the crease. I loaded the brush up with it so I would have lots of pigment to work with. I'm just gonna drag it into the crease here. Start at the area closer to the nose and drag it out, because as you pull on it, it tends to fluff. Kind of start with a smaller taper and bring it wider, which is the shape of the contour that you'd want to do here anyway. But you're really just trying to follow the crease there. So that's pretty good to start with. And then, like I said, yellows are a relatively delicate pigment, so I'm actually going to just continue to do that in a couple of layers. So I'm going to grab my kabuki brush, my big fluffy boy, and I'm going to brush out all of the extra, and I'm actually just going to tap very lightly to kind of settle any of the pigment that wanted to fall off. And I'm going to just do it again. You can see the brush is almost empty. I'm going to come in here and just drag some more. Boop. And I really want to make sure that it is standing out a lot in this deep set crease part here. As a reminder, this look won't work for everyone. If you have very deep set eyelids or really narrow eyes, or basically any other eyelid shape than this exact configuration, you can still do a look like this. The techniques are just going to be a little bit different. Alright, so we're dragging more of that mustard in there. Don't really want mustard in my eyes. That sounds painful. That's looking lovely. I love it. I absolutely love it. You can see we haven't changed brushes yet because we don't really need to for this one. I'm going to tap it on the edge of my eyeshadow palette here to fluff out some of that yellow. I don't really mind if there's a little bit of it, because now we're going to do some blending and add in that lighter color. So we're going to go in here with Peach Meringue. I'm just loading up the brush like crazy. And then we're going to do it on the brow bone, because we want to make sure that all of our highlights are super pronounced. So this will also help us blend out some of the edges of that mustard color, so it doesn't look too tacky, bumpy, uneven, any of the words that all mean that thing. It helps us to soften the edges so you don't have any harsh pieces that look like maybe you weren't paying attention. Pretty good. All right, I've got to get, let's see, the yellow palette again. Now, I know that my yellows are prone to fading, so I'm going to use my NYX Matte Finish ink spray. I'm going to spray a little bit on the mirror here, and I'm going to get it on my brush, and I'm going to just get it a little bit damp on that mustard. And I want to make sure that I am picking up enough pigment that it's not a thick paste. So you can see it's still kind of crumbly and eyeshadowy. And then we're just going to dab that into the crease there. And this part is going to look a little chunky at first until we get it blended. You can see how it's adding contrast there, because when you use a water or another liquid with your eyeshadows, it usually makes them a little bit darker, more pigmented, and stay longer on you. That helps the color permanence. All right, I am in love with this. I think it's perfect. Again, I'm gonna fluff out that brush. I'm gonna check my color palette here. Let's see, I've got a lot of colors to work with. And I think I'm going to do this one because that looks a lot like this pale peachy color and the chrysanthemums on my top. So I'm going to go ahead and switch brushes since I got this one wet. Let's see. We want to switch to a similar, really fluffy brush. I've got a couple that are a little more dense, but we want it to be a soft application so it doesn't get too rigid and pointy. So we're gonna gather a bunch of that on the Just Peachy on here, and we're actually gonna use this color underneath. So I'm just gonna swipe it all the way across. And this one we're gonna have to apply probably twice. Look, I got a little accident, whoops. Because I haven't done the powder yet. So this is, again, laying down the base for this. And then I'm gonna set up my whole face, which again is gonna be pretty quick today. I'm just using my favorite powder, Maybelline Superstay Buff Beige. It's really good for people with oily skin. I have super oily skin. So I'm just gonna do a full coverage. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna get the powder on there and just put it on all my skin. Since I'm finished with most of the super pigmented colors and my like lids, I'm gonna go ahead and do this part so I can finish up underneath my eyes and call it a day. All right, you can see that it's a really good coverage for being a powder. Usually they're a little bit more translucent and lend themselves to showing red spots, you know, acne, unevenness in your skin. But this one is a powder foundation, whatever that means. And I enjoy it. It works really well. So I'm gonna put it on, I'm gonna fluff out my kabuki brush a little bit, make sure that everything is settled. Then I'm gonna go back in with that nice peachy color and my soft peachy brush that I immediately lost. Soft peachy brush, where did you go? All right, I found it. All right, so we're gonna go back in, get a little bit more of that, because as you can see, whoops, when we did the powder coverage, it definitely took away from this a little bit when we blended under the eyes. So just gonna fill that back in, give it a little more peach. I'm not worried too much if it gets kind of out to the sides here because I can just blend it anyway. I actually think this looks really good. So I'm gonna call my eyes done, or my eyeshadow, and I'm gonna go in and just finish everything else up. So we've got our Maybelline Colossal Volume Express, my favorite mascara, in black. And I'm just gonna come in here real quick and hold it and then blink onto it a couple times. Don't be nervous, mascara is not scary. Mascara. And I'm just gonna blink. You're always gonna wanna pull away at first and then towards, because that's going to declump it. So your first kind of layer is gonna be pulled away, and then your final one is gonna be pulled back in towards the nose. My bottom lashes are super light and tend to smudging, so I'm just gonna give them a little kiss of mascara, nothing crazy there. I'm gonna wait for this to set a little bit. I'm gonna lose all of my makeup, just kidding. Put that one back on. Now we're gonna do some eyeliner. I know this is everybody's favorite part. I'm gonna get real close and hopefully you'll be able to see while I do this. So I'm gonna start on the inner area towards the nose and then pull it across. I'm just gonna close my eye and I'm just gonna do a nice steady line. Now, this isn't what I want it to look like in the end, but this is a beautiful start. So I'm gonna build an arch kind of around that first line. So I'm gonna go in here and tighten that line up a little bit. And then I'm gonna come up and over. And like I said, just build around that first line that we made. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not gonna do a crazy wing today because that's not how I'm feeling. But you can see I've got a really nice shape that follows the shape of my eyelid, so it looks more natural and just adds a little bit of contrast. So we're gonna come in and make sure that it's all filled in, make sure there aren't any gaps. You can see it's a huge difference to have the eyeliner and not eyeliner. It really just makes your eyes stand out. It helps separate the lid and eyelashes from the really nice color of your eyes. Brings a little more attention to it. So I'm gonna do the same thing on my left eye. I'm just gonna start in this corner closer to the nose, and I'm just gonna pull across. Now, I can already tell that I made that one a little bit different. I meant to angle it down to finish, but I angled it up. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna build my little arch near it. So I'm gonna follow the shape of my eyelid, and that will come with time. You kind of have to experiment with some of this because it does take a long time to get good at it. Practice makes perfect. All right, now we're almost done there, but I've got this awkward space where I've got one line going down and one line going up. So I'm just going to come out a little bit and fill it in. It's gonna look a little awkward at first. I'm gonna come back here to tighten that up. And then to make this look a little bit less awkward, I'm just gonna pull that arch up a little bit. Nope. And now to match it, I'm gonna pull this one out just a little bit. Oops, sorry, you probably can't see me at all. I'm gonna pull this one out just a little bit as well. And then check that all the lines are filled in there. Not too bad, right? I think it looks pretty good. Now we're gonna go with a second layer of that mascara. Again, just a quick brush in. Make sure that it is filling out the lashes. I occasionally miss these right here at the end, so I'll give them a little bit more attention. Perfect. All right, we're almost done. I'm gonna take my kabuki brush again, make sure that I haven't got any more fallout from that peachy color. I'm gonna take my matte finishing spray and spray it on my lids. It's a little bit uncomfortable because it's cold. Then we're gonna get our blush. This one is obviously very used. It is a CoverGirl Pretty Peach Cheekers, I think it is. Cute. I'm gonna use my kabuki brush and hurry this up to dry a little bit because I really didn't need my cheeks to have that finishing spray yet. I really just needed it on my lids. So got it nice and dry there. I'm gonna take my fluffy little blush brush, and get the top of it nice and covered. And then for your cheekies, you want to smile and see where that highest point is, and that's where you want to start. So you start, and then I always do long ovals out, sweeping motions out towards the hairline. Because again, it helps when it tapers on the end, like we did with the mustard yellow. That first touch is going to be a little bit tighter, and then it's going to get fluffy on the way out, which is exactly how we want it to look on the cheek. So again, find that highest point. Got the first initial bump. It's going to be our tightest line, and then some nice sweeping ovals out towards the hairline. I like blush because I think that my coloring is a little boring, so I always add just a little bit extra. Alrighty, next we're gonna fill in my brows. I've got a nice angled brush, pointy boy. I'm gonna go ahead and use my chocolate dipped from the Just Peachy Mattes Too Faced palette, and I'm going to make sure to pull it on the edge just a little bit. This one we don't want to be super overloaded with pigment like the other ones, because it's gonna have way more fallout. So we're just gonna come in here, and I'm gonna start at the corner towards the nose and just lightly tap it and pull in the same direction your hair is growing. That's gonna be the key to making it look natural. You can see it got a little fluffy over here, so I'm gonna just wipe it off. Boop. Gonna get a little bit more on the brush. Little sweeping motions I've found are super helpful, especially when you're using a powder to fill it in, because then as you make little mistakes, it's a little bit easier to fix. Now I am utilizing the pointy angled part to kind of draw in fake hair shapes. If I had a more angled, a smaller brush, then it would be much more noticeable, but this one is a little bit fluffy, and I didn't get it damp. My goodness. So I think that looks great. What do you guys think? Give it a couple more kisses here. You can see I've got kind of like a spot here where it doesn't grow in super even, so I'll usually give it a little bit more attention. Over here, the same thing on this spot right here, so I'll give it a little more. Alrighty, last but not least, lippies. Baby Lips, Maybelline. This one's fabulous because look, it is this color pink, but when you put it on, it adapts to the pH of your skin, so it gives you a little bit of a different color depending on who's wearing it, which I think is lovely. It's just a really nice neutral shade that I can wear all day. It's highly moisturizing. That's it, guys. This has been another great session of Katie's hour-long makeup bonanza. Probably not an hour long, but I'll work on the title. Here it is, the final product. We got that nice mustard yellow, the peachy underneath. We've got our neutral base, eyebrows done, blush, eyelashes, mascara, all beautiful. Got our eyeliner on, and last but not least, our lippies. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys had a good time. As always, check back with me next time.